Hi, welcome to the new episode of Pivot with PJ. This is your host. I'm super excited to have Vino Supraja here with me on the show. What I want to know from you is what part of your life script you remember that you've written in your early childhood?
I think, rather than calling it as like writing your own script, you can say that, when the influences that you have when you are a child.
I'm PJ and I'm here to navigate the bends of the roads with you. I'm looking forward to it. Let's get on this ride together on Pivot with PJ. Hi, welcome to the new episode of Pivot with PJ. This is your host, and I'm super excited to have Vino Supraja here with me on the show. Vino is, her career trajectory or her life journey comes as wild as it gets. So I just can't wait to explore her journey and particularly, what it took for her to move from one facet to another. Vino is currently a fashion designer, a sustainable fashion designer, environmentalist, practitioner, and advocate of sustainable fashion. And before this, she has had many, many lives, including, an architect, radio jockey. She's also been a media person, and maybe I'm missing a few also. So I think we'll get right to it and hear from you. How life took you from one place to another. But welcome to the show. I'm super thrilled to have you here, and I can't wait to hear your huge charm me and the audience.
Thank you, PJ. I mean, that introduction was on another level of saying I have had several lives. Yes, I think I have had several lives. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you so much for inviting me for this conversation. I am also looking forward to how it's going to flow.
Wonderful. And yeah, and neither of us has scripted this or planned for how it's going to be. So it's going to be interesting how we are going to take this forward. Um, Before we start, see, I think um, research basically says that um, we write our scripts, life scripts, very early in our lives. In most cases, subconsciously, right? We write our scripts subconsciously by the time we are 7 or 8 or so, and then we carry it with us. And sometimes we become conscious and aware of it, and we try to change it whenever it is necessary. But in general, that's the consensus, right? What I want to know from you is what part of your life script you remember that you've written in your early childhood.
I think, rather than calling it as like writing your own script, you can say that, when the influences that you have when you are a child, that kind of shapes up the entire future.
Right.
Like recently, I was watching a documentary about artist Trotsky Mardusar, okay, and the influences that he had had in Madurai, living near Tamukam Maidanam and seeing the Dravidian movement,
Right.
budding and blossoming and everything. So he was talking about that. Similarly, if you ask me what shaped me up, okay, first my parents. My dad was a doctor who decided to serve in a village for 50 years.
Wow.
Okay, he was the son of a farmer, of an agriculturalist. So he cycled 15 kilometers one way every single day for his schooling.
Hmm.
And he was a student of Kilpauk Medical College. And that kind of uplifted his whole society, his family. And I have seen that. I mean, not just his growth, also the way he served the people. We used to have like see, I belong to a small town called Vandavasi. I need to give that background, okay? Vandavasi is not even a managarachi. It is still a nagarachi. It became municipality much later. It was only a panchayat. Okay, it's a small town with very few streets and very limited people living. So he was having his clinic there, and so he gets patients from having scorpion bites because of a
Wow.
lot of thatched roof houses. Okay, those days when I was a child, there were not many medicines that will cure this in one go. So he had to put some injection every hour. So what
Hmm.
he used to do is used to, whoever rings the bell in the middle of the night, because the scorpion bite happens only in the middle of the night. So he opens the door, lets them in. We all sleep in the hall only, pie, putting the pie underneath, which is like the mats of Vandavasi is very famous. It's next to the Pattamadai mats. Okay.
Right.
So we sleep on the mats, and these patients also sleep with us on our head, like in the same hall. And every hour an alarm will ring. He will switch on the light and then give the injection, and then it's the whole night he won't sleep, because every hour he has to wake up. So I have seen that. Okay. And my mom, she started a school when I was in third grade. She started a school with 40 children in a small house, because there were no matriculation school in town. So she wanted to start one, and she and my attai, they both got together. These two women got together and they started a school, and I studied there until so I saw them as entrepreneurs. Okay. Like building a school brick after brick, like how they gained admissions and how hard they work. I have seen two entrepreneurs in my life. Okay. One was a social entrepreneur. This school was also the same,
Right.
because it's a small town. Okay. All the children who are studying, they're all like children of farmers who are working in the fields and things like that. And it's not just me. I had a brother. Okay. He was 19 years old when I was born. So
Wow.
he went to medical school, and I was born. My mom thought it was some cutty in her uterus, and she went to the gynecologist, and the gynae said, "It's not cutty, it's putty." Now go raise the child. Here I go. So when I was born, my mom was 40, my dad was 50. Okay, so I was introduced in the second half of the life. And so I was a complete loner. I didn't have siblings to play with. My brother used to come during summer holidays, stay with us for a month or so, and then he leaves. So I was complete loner. So my time pass, and none of my friends used to come home and play with me, because I am the correspondent's daughter. Okay.
You went to the same school that your mother ran.
Nobody dare came. None of my classmates used to come home and play with me. So how I spent my time was, a, listening to radio. We didn't have a television set for a long time in my place, and we didn't have cable connection until I was in my third year of college. There was no cable. We only had Doordarshan much later. So what I did was, uh, a, listening to radio. I worked in radio in the end,
Right.
and we reading magazines. There were no bookstalls where you get good books. Nothing. No, it's a small town, and there, I don't know. I don't even know if this town had a library back then. I had no idea. So all I read was magazines. But somehow I think I had this thing for reading already. So
Hmm.
my mom used to buy magazines like Mangai Malar, all the women magazine. So I used to read it here, and then from there I go to my Attai's place. There they used to buy Junior Vigadan, Nakiran, and all those Tuklak, all those political
The
magazines, big
political
time.
and gossip stuff. Huh?
I used to not gossip, political. Like I used to follow the Veerappan hunt,
Ah,
and I used to follow the Auto Shankar thing. I used to
yeah, those
follow
were
the
the thing at that time.
assassination of Rajiv Gandhi, and what happened between J Ani and Ja Ani, and how AMK shaped up in the air. I used to follow everything. I was so small, and that used to be the entertainment for my family. They used to call me, come here, this small girl coming in. And then they're like, so what is happening between Jay Ani and Jani? And I'll give my gyan. You know what this guy said? And then this Jay Ani, they did this. And that used to be an entertainment for me speaking politics. And there used to be another neighbor where they got Rajesh Kumar's novels and
Hmm.
Balakumaran's novels and Sujata's novels and all those things. Initially, I started with these comics there in that mama's house, like Irumbukai Mayavi and the Rani comics.
Right.
Okay, all the Tamil version of the English comics that is around. So this is how my reading went until I was, see, after my 10th grade, I transitioned into reading Ananda Vigadan.
Hmm.
So Vigadan kind of opened up my eyes towards a bit of Ilakyam and little bit of serious reading,
Hmm.
because of the Todar that they used to
Right.
publish. So all those things, the Madisar Mami where Srividya used to, those images are vivid in my mind. Yeah, like we used
Yeah.
to drive TVS 50 and
Right.
all those things. So then it went. So this was the literature part of it. That's it. Silver Malar was a big entertainment.
Right.
So radio happened, entrepreneurship. I had a taste of entrepreneurship, radio, and then magazines of different genres, right? And adding to the adding to the political aspect of this, my grandfather's brother, okay, my chinna tata, used to be former governor of Kerala,
Hmm.
okay. So Pa Ramachandran solite. So when I was in my first grade, I remember going and staying in Rajbhavan and then going to Sabarimalai and then all those things I vaguely remember, okay. So what happens is whenever there is an election, they won't even ask us whether they can do it or not. They bring a big banner and that funnel, they tie it in our house and then they go because we were in a main junction like a
Hmm.
Teradi of Vandavasi, right?
Right.
And somebody comes every like during breakfast, lunch, and night time. One person will come. He will have a paper full of slogans and
Hmm.
he's supposed to read out on the mic.
Hmm.
So he will be reading out. So at times I take it from him, Anna naam padikkiren, give it to me, Anna, I will read. I used to, what, yeah, third standard, fourth standard, okay, mic, very fascinated by, the mic and the
Right.
way the slogans. I used to really, I can still hear myself saying like, Ungal Chinnam, மறந்து விடாதீர்கள், மறந்தும் இருந்து விடாதீர்கள், உங்கள் ஓட்டு. So the relationship with Mike happened there.
Wow.
Because you are born and raised in a small town, there is not much of entertainment around, right? So I have
Hmm.
never watched any stage dramas or anything. I have watched Terukutu big time.
Hmm.
The influence of Terukutu is really big because I used to love it. All the face makeup and when they twirl, everything twirls. There are things that move
Right.
and their voice, loud voice. I used to watch Terukutu a lot. I used to attend every single bhajan that happens in my town. I
Wow.
used to go was thinking. So it's like it's like a melting pot of several things that kind of which as you only when you ask this question I kind of relate to maybe this led to this, maybe this led to that, and see how you when you connect the dots, no, every time. Madam Jayalalitha crosses Vandavasi for election
Hmm.
campaign or anything. So ours is the Teradi, right? We live in the main junction. There used to be a Pukaramma, somebody who sells flowers. Okay,
Flowers.
and that lady used to wear only full red sari with white blouse. I remember her. Okay, so what she used to do, so her convoy goes. Okay, this lady with the big garland, she will royally go in the middle of the road and then she will stop her car. And then Madam J will also say like, okay, stop. And then she'll take the garland every time. Okay.
Wow.
So that way, the visuals, I remember seeing Madam Jayalalitha wearing white sari with that ADMK border
Yeah.
with a big bindi. You remember?
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
So I remember then, I remember seeing her with that, the bulletproof jacket
Right.
kind of dress that she wears. She wears something in green when I saw her there because she was again stopped by this Pukarama and then given a garland. I have seen her without that also with the regular embroidered sari that
Hmm.
she wears. So, and who knew? Yeah, I worked for her channel,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, when you connect the dots, no, after you come this far, it's like maybe these were all clues. Or
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, Jobs, in one of his, Steve Jobs, in one of his speeches, he says this beautifully. He says, you just cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect the dots looking backward. And I think every time, we are presented with an opportunity, we have to trust our gut and intuition, right? And then kind of take that leap of faith and trusting that we will be able to connect those dots in the future at some point.
and the main dot in my life is all about movies. Okay, I have to talk about this. So in a small town like ours,
Hmm.
movies never used to get released. Okay, so whatever movie gets released for Diwali, it will come to our place only during Pongal. And whatever releases to the world for Pongal will come later, much
You
later
wouldn't
during
even
Pongal.
know that it is releasing
No,
so
no.
late.
The
For you, it is
release,
just the release.
the
Really.
release the day it comes to our own theaters. Okay. So there were four theaters in
Right.
Vandavasi. There were, okay, out of which three belong to our relative. Okay,
Mm.
one of my relative tata. So, this is a funny story. My mom and dad were really worried because I was going to all these bhajans and going to temple all the time. So apparently they went to somebody to write my horoscope, and that guy had told them that this girl is has all the stars aligned to become a spiritual person. So please, if you don't want her to become a samyar, stop her now. So to
Wow.
divert me, they have decided, okay, let us show her movies so that she will get diverted from being so,
Spiritual.
God centric. So,
Wow.
so then they took me for my first movie. My first movie that I ever saw was Thiruvilayadal.
Mm.
Okay. So that was again a God movie. Anyway, they took me there. That didn't divert me much because there was also God. So I
God
was doing
everywhere
this
there.
as Siva Peruman, and I was like super ecstatic. But then, the next movie they took me, that kind of changed my whole perspective about movies, and I was in awe because the next movie was by our own T. Rajender. It was Uirullavarai Usha. And
Wow.
I was like, wow. So since then, I wanted to watch more movies. Okay. But my dad was a busy doctor, and my mom doesn't watch movies. She used to get migraines if she watches movies. But I was pestering them to watch more movies. The diversion kind of gave them headache because I was now obsessed with movies. So they start. It's anyway my one of my tata's theaters, right? So they used to call and say like, Vino's coming. 6 year older, see, is
Oh,
coming. This rickshaw, please take care of her. So they used to take me, put me on a seat, and then make me give me popcorn. I watch a movie and I come back home. So I used to watch movies alone since I was the first movie. There were some key movies that kind of, I still remember. One was Maviran.
mm.
Maviran release in my place. Okay, that means that is not released to the world
Mm.
in Vandavasi. Maviran release in Vandavasi. There were people standing outside of the gate of the theater and banging the gate to enter, and they kind of protected me and took me in. I stood and watched the whole movie. I was
Wow.
standing for the whole movie. Maviran, I think I was 6 years old or something. Okay, but I
Mm.
stood there. I just had the grit to do it. That one. And then I my mom put me in a dance school. Okay, to learn Bharatanatyam. I learned for 9 years. Okay, it was happening in a town nearby. I used to catch bus on Saturdays and Sundays, go all the way to learn and come back. The dance classes happened in a church. My
Mm.
Bharatanatyam
How beautiful.
teacher, yeah, my Bharatanatyam teacher was a Christian. Okay. And I used to go every weekend and learn dance from her. She's still alive. She's still there in St. Thomas Mount, living in St. Thomas Mount. Her name is
Mm.
Rani Clementia. Okay. So I used to do this, but I was very reluctant initially because my legs were aching. I have to wake up early on a weekend. So I was very reluctant. Then I watched Salageole.
Ah,
Ha!
of
You
course.
have no idea how motivated I was after watching that movie. And then I was very regular. I mean I really gave my best to that
Mm.
whatever I learned from that small town. And the another movie that changed, that is still vivid, is Annamalai. Okay.
Mm.
Annamalai, first day for show I wanted to watch. Not even first day for show in the world sense, in Vandavasi sense, it's the first day for show there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to the theater. I used at that point I started calling Tata myself.
Mm.
Tata, I am coming. And he said, don't come. It's madly crowded. There is no place for you to, in the balcony and all, to sit. I said, like, wherever, it's Annamalai, I want to watch. So on the ground floor, near the screen, on the aisle, they had put benches, okay? Not like this. If this is the screen, the bench is not like this, it's like this. So you have to put both your legs this side and that side and sit and watch.
Wow.
And that's the first time I'm watching a movie in the ground floor in one of the few first rows.
Mm.
Hmm? And then the introduction song, okay? And
Must have
and
been an
and then
experience there.
thing that comes down and then Rajnikant looks at like the people like this. The madness around me was mesmerizing. People were dancing, people were throwing tickets, people were throwing money. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And from next time on, I told my Tata, no box, no. I want to sit on the ground floor. Please don't send me to
Be
the
where the
balcony.
action is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I don't know. So movies were always I used to love Bhagiraj movies.
Hmm.
I what I used to. I still I love Bhagiraj movies. I love Visu sir's movies. All these things, and every time there is a summer holiday when all these aunties and all gather at home, they used to send me to the cassette shop where you
Hmm.
get video
Yeah.
cassettes,
The
and
video
then say,
cassette library. Yeah.
go get some Visu padam. Okay, I used to go all Visu padam, and look at this. I got married to someone who belongs to that family.
Ah,
Yeah, I mean, I don't
it's
know.
it's
Yeah, when
surreal.
it is surreal. It is not because I got married to him, not because he belongs to that family. He was my classmate. We fell in love and we got married. Okay. But then it so happened that he belongs to that family. His mother is Visusa's sister.
Hmm.
Visusa is his Thai mama. But and when I was really small, again all these uncles and aunties entertaining kid I was. Apart from the political thing, they used to ask me to narrate this பைத்தியக்கார ஆஸ்பத்திரியில பைத்தியங்களுக்கு வைத்தியம் பார்க்கிற say that. சரி அந்த பைத்தியக்கார ஆஸ்பத்திரியில சொல்லு மாமாக்கு பைத்தியக்கார ஆஸ்பத்திரியில கதை அந்த டைலாக் சொல்லு அந்த டைலாக் சொல்லு so and I don't know, I mean, yeah, so these are all the influences that I had. Maybe I had missed some, I don't know, but yeah, these things.
Beautiful, beautiful. And it seems like those are still vivid in your mind, and you're able to, like that, recall all these memories. And I'm jealous, but it's very nice. It's very beautiful. We know how come you've preserved beautifully preserved that small town girl charm. Uh, how do you manage to do that? After
It's not
now
easy.
we'll go back to the journey and everything, but this is something I want to really
It's
explore.
not easy, PJ. It's not easy because you're going around the world and meeting many different people,
Right.
and there are several influences. Like how there are certain vivid influences that shaped me up until here. There are other influences which can easily rub on you and kind of shape you up furthermore in any ways, right?
Right.
But somehow I work hard to keep myself what I was. I tell everyone, even whoever I meet from my past, or I say that I'm still the Manjapai from Vandavasi who got down in Paris corner Pukada bus stand to join college in SRM.
Hmm.
That is who I am, and I want to remain like that because I find like extreme beauty in it. I find everything else very superficial, yeah.
Right.
That's what those are my people. I am one among them. I might get many awards, many publications, this, that, okay. But who am I inside is still that Gramatu Ponnu, no? Urkara Ponnu.
Right.
I really want to remain so because I find her very beautiful.
Hmm.
The minute she tries to become urban, I think she won't be the same. I don't think she'll be loved
Hmm.
as she is now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. And it's not something that you would expect. It's not something that your environment, your circle would expect, right? And it's also not something that you would expect of yourself. You want to, but at the same time, you want to play to the choir. And how do you manage to do that? I still find it, uh, while as beautiful as it is it even possible? How do you make it happen? I mean, there are situations where you're going to have to play to the tunes, and uh, do people like what they see?
No, I don't play to the tunes. Okay,
Hmm.
I am this anywhere, on camera, off camera. Even if you see me on the road, I am this. Okay, you like me or you don't like me, that is not my problem.
Hmm.
I don't want to. I tell my husband. Okay, like when we moved to Gurgaon. Out of everywhere, we were able to remain Indian at heart. Okay, I keep my golu, whichever country I go to, I have loads of dolls that I carry because I
Right.
find it as a very creative exercise. I love it. So I keep my golu everywhere, and then I try to do things that I like. Okay, anything that involves creativity, I indulge in.
Mm.
Okay, but yeah, as you said, there are people who expect you to be in a certain way and judge you for being in a certain way, right? But what I'm saying is, like, this is what I am. If I pretend to be someone else to please others, no, I will start to, I will be exposed.
Mm.
That'll look even more ugly.
Mm.
Why? This is what I am. If you respect me for who I am as a person, please join my circle. If you
Nice.
think I am low because I am not looking fancy, I'm not wearing brands, or I'm not carrying a Louis Vuitton or something, if you want to see me low, thank you very much. You're most welcome to leave the party. This is what I am, and that's my core. And I don't want to pretend. And also, as you said, like, your circle, that matters. Yeah, I am very, 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 very conscious about who I let in to my circle. If you see, I have a lot of friends, but my core group is just handful.
Mm.
I have friends, but my core is like just some 4 or 5 people I can name,
Mm.
and that's enough. I am like, I was just telling my friend, like, to add one more friend after this point in life, and explain them all your life history, and then tell them why you are talking like this. What is the reason? I am tired. I have this handful of amazing people in my life. If I am pleasing them, I am fine. I
Right.
don't mind pleasing these
They keep
people.
you honest.
Yeah, and they tell me if I go wrong also. They have all the freedom to tell me that, hey, you're going wrong, come back on track or whatever. So I don't know. I mean, my I think my dad had a major influence on this because when he died, okay, he served only in that village for 50 long years. When
Mm.
he died, there were 4 lorries of garlands that we took along to the cremation ground.
Mm.
Okay, and the whole 10 days, God knows who these people were. They came and cried for him. We didn't even know they were all his patients. I don't know, so many villagers. Isn't he great? He was not wearing full suit, and he was not working in a corporate uh, clinic setup, hospital
Right.
setup. But still, this made a lot of difference to the community, right? So, if I am given the respect for who I am as a person, I think that brings happiness to me rather than being treated one among the elites who wants you to. That's very superficial. Yeah, come on,
Right.
I don't want
Right.
that.
No, it's very nice to hear that, and what I really like about it is it's not even sounding, I wouldn't call arrogant, but what it's sounding very gentle when you say that, and the way you gently own who you are comfortably. I think that speaks a lot about your confidence, also, right? About who you are. That's really nice, and I appreciate that, and
I was
it's a lot.
I was
Yeah, go on.
I was someone who was very low on confidence once until my school days. I was
Right.
very low on confidence, and I think going to college and living alone in a hostel among friends who were really, really, non-judgmental, because SRM, right?
Right.
SRM is a HEP college, yeah, even
Yeah.
back then, right? And there were people from big schools of Chennai. I had PSBBs and DAVs around me, church parks around me. I was someone, my 11th and 12th, I did in Arasinar Angal Melnilepalli. I'm a government school student who joined there,
Mm.
right? But I was never judged, I was never bullied. I had oiled hair, center partition, long jadai, I wore Hawaii chapel, dupatta pinned on both the sides. That is who I was. But I was never judged for what I was a friend of everyone. And by the end of the 5th year, I was ready to go and speak on radio and television, yeah. That's
Yeah,
the confidence that college life gave me. And that's the influence that your friends can have and have on you if you get the right set of friends.
absolutely.
Right? That's
Yeah,
also a lesson, no? To let
absolutely.
anyone inside the circle.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's not, we have to count our blessings too, right? Because it's just, it doesn't happen to everybody and all the time. And you got
Yeah,
lucky when it comes to having the right people around you,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
at that stage, right? Because that could have been a stage where it could have broken. Uh, uh, Anybody from a small town who come into the city and face that kind of a change, it's not easy, right?
Actually, there were several instances in my life I often think that could have broke me easily, but somehow I don't know what, I don't know, some blessing, it always kept me sane. There were
Mm.
several. It's not like a cakewalk as I am narrating it with a big smile. Life was not a cakewalk. Like just coming from Vandavasi to, if coming from Vandavasi to Chennai was a big change, think about going from Chennai to China.
Yeah,
Huh? China out of everywhere. And then think about going from China to Detroit, which was going through a major recession,
right.
right? So yeah, China was like a major slash on my ego.
Wow.
So yeah, there were, and then I lost my mom. I lost my dad. I lost my mom. I lost my brother also. So I have no roots with Vandavasi now.
Mm.
I have no place to go back. I mean, I am speaking with all love about my hometown, but I don't have a home in my hometown, right? I can only pass through the city now. I don't have my home, or there are no roots technically.
Mm.
I'm just still holding on to the place.
The memories.
Yeah, I only have the memories. Maybe that's the reason I'm narrating it in a very passionate way.
Right.
Because all I have is memories about this place. I can never go back to those days because it's all wiped off,
Mm.
right? So yeah, something has helped me to remain, just gather up and remain in this form. Otherwise, it's very easy to get broken. If I
True.
if I have to call that something as God, as universe, as my dad's blessing, as my parents' blessing, I am really thankful for that.
Yeah, totally, totally. I can imagine, and also how you have tapped into those energies that you have preserved from your childhood. Uh, you see, blessings or not, right? You're gonna have to take it in the right way and carry it with you. So that's beautiful too.
I actually think, PJ, I was telling my son recently, like, South Indians or Tamil, the people who are in Tamil Nadu, right? We have been, if you take Tamil as your second language, you are taught a lot of literature there.
Yeah.
And if you see in the north, I don't know, it's just my observation, it's not a north south divide kind of debate. But if you see in the south, a lot of this literature is about virtues and values. Like, for example, when you are very small, you are taught Tirukural, you are taught Atichudi, Avayarod Atichudi. You are taught many things that speaks about, there is Agananuru, there is Purnanuru. They speak about king's generosity. So they are taught virtues and values, whereas in other places, these are all only bhakti literature,
True. Totally.
right? You have to interpret your own virtues from what you read in the bhakti literature, but here it is straightforward. Aram செய்ய விரும்பு. That's it. There is no
Yeah.
interpretation. Be
Yeah.
generous. That's it,
Yeah.
no? So,
Totally.
so somehow what you read, what you are taught when you are a child, somehow I definitely think what you see, it has a great impact in your, somewhere in your subconscious mind, and it kind of reflects as you grow up.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
way, I think we're all very
Absolutely.
lucky.
Absolutely. Yeah. Tell me about it. I think you touched upon the Tamil literature, and I've thought about it so many times. Right? The how Tirukkural has shaped so many of our lives for so many years, thousands of years, and how succinct and straightforward and to the point it is. It's incredible. And
Yeah.
the form, the Venba itself, whether it is Tirukural or whether it is Mudurai, it's such a beautiful meter
Yeah.
in Tamil poetry, and it's incredible. I mean, maybe that's a conversation we should have separately, just about Tamil poetry and this thing. I think it would be beautiful. Um, cool. So you moved from Vandavasi to SRM to study architecture. Uh, is that something that you wanted to study all the time, or was it just a uh, you know you landed where you landed?
Okay. You are you are you are talking to an அரசினர் ஆண்கள் மேல்நிலைப்பள்ளி girl, okay? So when I finished my schooling, my dad obviously wanted me to become a doctor.
Ah,
My mom also
of
wanted
course.
me to become a doctor, but I said no because I wanted to become a rebel. So I said, no, 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 I'm not going to become a doctor like you guys. He wanted me to become a dentist also. So I said, like, I'm not going to dig into people's mouth day in and day out. No, no, no. I said, the option I gave them was I want to do MA Tamil Literature, 5 years integrated course in Milam Tamil College. I chose the place, I chose the course, and then I just announced, and my parents were like really terrified to hear this. And then they said, like, learning Tamil, what are you going to do? Are you going to become a Tamil teacher? Yeah, I'm going to become a Tamil teacher. What is your so this whole thing happened. And then this debate was really, we were having a heated situation at home, like people coming in and convincing me saying no to this, all those things. So one of my uncles, who was an engineer living in Chennai, he called me one day and then he said, like, there is a new course called architecture. Do you want to join this course? The only question I asked him is, does it have math in it? He said, like, no, no, no maths, ma. It is all about designing buildings and drawings. Like, drawings? Okay, I am in. That is exactly. So my mom and dad were very happy. Okay, she's entering an engineering college at least. Not going to the Milam college. Like, okay, fine. Put her in architecture. So I entered architecture. The first day, okay, as I told you, imagine the center partition, oiled hair, dupatta pinned girl. So she is going to the classroom. The class had already started because that was my first day. I had to come all the way from Pukada bus stand to Marimala Nagar and all. So there was a teacher writing on the blackboard, mathematics. Apdin he did on underline. Boom.
Shock of your life there, huh?
Apdin, my face tore into several pieces and went all around the screen. I was like, what have I gotten myself into? Math was in the name of math during the first year, and it was in a different name during all the rest of the 4 years. There
Wow.
was math and there was also physics involved. Like, I'm bowing laughing. So that is exactly how I joined architect. See, we are laughing about it, but that's the plight of rural students, no? We
Yeah.
don't even know what is available. We just blindly go behind somebody saying something, okay, let's go and join that course. And when you enter the college, you are so scared that when the teacher is asking you a question in English, you're hiding yourself behind the person who is sitting in front of you, and you have zero confidence. It's a bit big struggle inside. Luckily, as you mentioned, I had good friends and good teachers for whom I became a project. My improvement was their project. So
Ah,
they styled
so they
me,
made it their life's mission to,
to
you
make
know,
so they
what
took
you call make you over.
so they took me to my I had a roommate who was from Oman.
Hmm.
Okay, and another roommate was from Bhubaneswar, and Mala and Beena. These two girls used to take me to the beauty parlor and get my eyebrows done. They taught me how to put eyeliner, and they used to open my trunk and their trunks with clothes, and then they used to style me. Okay, you wear this bottom with my top, so that so I mean, look at those. Like, if you think about it, they were just 16, 17-year old kids. No, look
Yeah.
at those kids. How sweet they were, right? Helping the other child who is from a small village, becoming their roommate. they were helping her to become one among them, no? Rather than
Nice.
teasing her or bullying her.
Mm.
I am really blessed to have such nice people. I also think the vibe that you give comes back. You attract
Yeah.
similar.
Yeah.
That is also there,
Yeah.
right? So
Absolutely.
yeah, so that was architecture. That's how I ended up in architecture. But those 5 years really shaped me up as a person, and also it opened my eyes in terms of how to look at things aesthetically.
Mm.
What is perceived as good, beautiful in the world's eye, and why? What is something called bad and ugly in the world's eye, and why? You kind of get this sense, no, you get exposed to different kinds of buildings, artists, art forms. Day in and day out, you talk about only creative stuff.
Right.
And I love it. Probably that is where I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And somehow destiny kind of put me there at the right time.
Very nice. And also get to know form and function and the difference
Yeah.
and why both are important. It's also beautiful.
Form, form follows function, function follows form,
Right.
and all those nice
Yeah.
things.
All those good stuff. Um, so tell me this. I have um, I haven't seen an architect or anybody who went to study architecture, even whether they're practicing or not, who has not studied Ayn Rand and Fountainhead. Uh,
You know,
have you read it
I'll tell you, Ayn Rand came to my life much, 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 much later.
later?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I went to
Mm.
school portion, I went to
Right.
college, which was Parimale Nagar.
Mm.
Okay. There was no access to book there also.
Mm.
Right? I never used to, even the little bit of reading that I was doing back home had stopped after going to college because there is no access to magazines also. So, absolutely, there was no reading. And once I finished architecture, and after that, again, my magazine journey only continued because I didn't even know what to buy. And I have read Kalki before. I have read, yeah, that Sujata and Kalki, they were all part of me, but in terms of books in English,
Mm.
right? So I didn't know who were good authors, and I didn't know whether I will understand the book or, I never, I mean, I had my friends who used to read Sydney Sheldon and all those gundu gundu English books. I was,
Right.
English, படிக்கிறோம்." That's it. So
Yeah.
when so I used to read Tamil books, of course, Tamil
Right.
novels. Yes, I used to read Balakumaran. So all the things that people start to read when the initial readers read. No, I used to read all those things. But when I was carrying my child, right, I really wanted him to go to a nice school, and I really wanted him to read a lot. So that is so when he was a toddler, not even a toddler, I used to take him to Crosswords and all the bookstores, and then just leave him to play there. He will pull down all the books, and then we'll put everything. And I used to have a small thing called reading niche
Mm.
at home, and I used to read as if it's a big thing. I'll tell Amma's reading, okay, don't come close to me. This is my reading nook. Don't touch this. This book is this, and I explained. So he considered that it's something amazing to have, and then now he has his own reading nook,
Nice.
right? And I have a great friend called Jagan who's big time into reading. Okay, so
Mm.
he suggests me like idu padi, and then this is a great book. Get this for your son, and then I slowly started picking up like. But you know what? Fountainhead is a tough read for a for an initial
For a
reader.
beginner reader.
For
Yeah.
a beginner,
It
yes.
is.
It
It
is
is.
a tough read, right? But I took it. I took it, and I was like, okay, I get it. But then it kind of, it is dragging and what is. Somehow I finished it.
Mm.
I have a copy. But I really did this when I was a beginner, and I'm yet to read it again.
Mm.
And yeah, so that's my
That's the
story with
story
Fountain.
of Fountain. Very interesting. Because I always thought that anybody who went to study architecture in school, this is something that they come across either while in school or maybe immediately after that. Interesting that happened to you much later.
I have a friend called R.S. Prasanna who is a film director. He is a big, 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 huge fan of Ayn Rand.
Mm.
Okay. If he listens to this, he's going to, I don't know, phone Bunny is going to tell me like, "Serious?
Yeah.
Witnessing
Yeah,
those
very
times.
similar
Yeah.
story for me. I bumped into Ayn Rand, but much earlier. That was my
Mm.
first book. Atlas Shrugged was my first ever English novel that I read, and it
Wow.
was so hard. It took me about 3 months, 3 or 4 months to finish the book. But I've read
Mm.
Atlas Shrugged about 10 times now, and I've reread Fountainhead several times. And every time I read it, every phase of life I read it, I debate and uh, disagree and violently disagree with some of the concepts, right? And earlier, the kind of influence it can have on you changes with
Yeah.
age and maturity and exposure.
Yeah.
I
You
think.
also evolve, no?
Yeah, we do, right? And but very, very powerful. I think both Atlas Shrugged and Fountainhead.
Mm.
They made a mess of it in the movies, uh, but that's good. That's very interesting. Did you?
That's
Sorry.
another thing.
Uh,
That's another thing. I have never watched. I have not watched any of the English Hollywood movies that the world has seen. Like, if you ask anyone going on the road, if you ask them some 10 names of the most famous Hollywood movies in the world, I wouldn't have seen even one single one of them,
even now.
because yeah, there was
Wow.
no time. Yeah,
Of course.
I mean, see, you know what? I had to catch up 17 year long life in terms of English literature and English movies.
And music.
Okay, and music. Yeah, I knew
Yeah, that's a
only
biggie,
one
no?
name.
In college, listening
I
to
mean,
rock
that's,
and pop.
when we were in college, the big hit was Barbie Girl, and then oh no, Stress, Ricky Martin. Spice Girls. Those
Yeah,
things I know because I was already in college and my roommates used to play. So those things I know. But previous era, I don't know. I mean, I came across many names much later during my radio days, people telling, and then I go back and then you kind of Google and find out who they are. You know, it's a project, yeah, to catch up.
true.
It's very difficult. But if you don't get enough exposure during your school days, no, it's very difficult to bridge that gap.
Yeah,
It's not easy because you're talking about 17 years of life.
yeah.
My 17 years of life was only with Tamil cinema and only with Tamil magazines. If you ask me anything from that
You'll kill
world,
it.
I will be like, come on. Hollywood quiz. Yes, I am ready. No.
Yeah. No,
So
it's tough.
yeah.
Very similar suburban upbringing and college in a small town for me. I still, after all these years, I still feel that the gap is still not bridged, and I can relate to what you're saying. It's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah, because there are other things that we need to be doing, and all the bridging thing is has to be done part time here and there whenever we get the time, and it's hard.
Yeah,
Amazing.
we have something else going on in the main track. These
Yeah.
backgrounds we can manage without knowing them also.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
would like to know. Sometimes I go back and Google and find out and
Mm.
try to listen to the music and all those things.
Mm.
But there is only so much you can do. No,
Yeah, given
it's
the
like
time, I think if we can try and learn and begin to appreciate some of these other art forms, I think that's good enough.
following the content on OTT platforms. Okay,
Yeah.
people keep saying, "Did you watch this series? Did you watch that?" I mean, like every week there are some 10 series getting released in different platforms. Okay, if I have to watch everything, then I just have to shut down everything else and keep watching it.
Yeah.
You can only watch so much. No, you can only read
True.
so much, and
True.
so it's okay to not know.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone is following everything. It's highly
Absolutely.
impossible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Amazing. So listen, when you went to study architecture in college, I know you mentioned you immediately got into media. I think radio, right, to start with.
Not immediately.
So I was going to
So,
ask you, did you practice as an architect? Was that your intention?
good. So I finished architecture and I was in love with my husband who was my classmate. Okay.
Ah.
So and that's the time when these new softwares like Maya, 3D Studio Max, and virtual walkthroughs and perspectives and these
Mm.
things were simulations were coming up. So I wanted to learn them, like how to do it. So I joined a residential course in Pentamedia, which was in Kelambakam. So that was the residential course, and I was doing it. And my husband was then doing MBA in London. So when I finished that course, I had to accompany my group of friends from Pentamedia. While going to the city, they were applying for some course in Anna University that was coming up new, which was called electronic media. So I went with
Mm.
them by bike. I said, "Get me also an application." So I filled up the application and then I submitted. I mean, I don't even know why I did it. Okay. I just submitted it because everybody was doing it. I did it. And then the entrance exam happened. There was a big argument between me and my friends in my home whether to go and write the entrance exams or not because Spider Man 1 was getting released that weekend. The boys wanted to go to Spider Man 1. The only responsible girl in the group said, "No, guys, we have paid 600 rupees for that application. Let's better go and write the entrance exams."
That
So
was
I
you.
pulled it. That was me, yeah. So we all went and gave the entrance exam, and I think I got some 14th rank or 16th rank, something like that. Okay, some 5,000 people wrote the exam.
Mm.
So the seat is confirmed now. I'm calling my mother outside
Was that a
in the
master's
shop.
degree program or something?
Yeah, it was MSc Electronic Media, which is still there
Mm.
in Anna
Oh.
University. So we were the first batch that we
Mm.
applied, first or second batch. So I called my mom and said, like, you know what, I gave an exam in Anna University. So I got the seat. And then she said, like, Anna University? Okay, join. She didn't even know what. It was the title Anna University, the brand.
Right.
So I joined Anna University and I was doing the course, but I couldn't finish the course because Deepak had come back from then the 9/11 crash had
Mm.
happened, and then the students were sent back if they didn't have a job in hand or things like that. So he came back, and we had to get married because my dad. I was born late, right? My dad was 70 then when I was in Anna University. So he had already gone through his bypass surgery. So they wanted me to get married ASAP. So I had to discontinue the course. So what Deepak is my husband, okay? Hereafter in the whole document,
Referred
41
to
my
as.
husband referred to.
Noted.
So Deepak and I decided, like both are architects, so we will start an architecture firm, and then we will, practice architecture because we had to earn. We are supposed to get married sooner, so we had to earn. And the place we chose to be was in Vellore because some 2 3 projects came from Vellore. So we thought, okay, Vellore, we'll go there. My mom is from Vellore.
Mm.
So she was also very happy. Okay, these guys are going to go in Vellore, my place, and they're going to become big Toiladibars in Vellore. And we started our architecture firm there. It was a major flop. Okay,
Mm.
because we knew the craft, but we didn't know how to do business.
Mm.
People used to come and take the plan with them, and then they'll start building. We didn't know how to draft a contract or get into a contract. Right? We were only 23. Yeah, come on, we 23-year-olds. What do we know? But anyway, we struggled royally, and Deepak was taking classes for bank exams, railway exams, and all those things. Imagine a person who has graduated from LSE, huh?
Mm.
Was doing this in Vellore, and I was teaching Photoshop in the nearby women's college, Photoshop, Flash, and all whatever I learned in Pentamedia. I was teaching and making money. Whatever little money we used to get, we didn't really realize the seriousness of the situation. So we used to go to Jayamurugan theater and watch movies. Kaka Kaka, Virumandi, and all got released at that time. Gilly. So God knows how many times we have watched Kaka Kaka.
Yeah.
Okay. And whenever there is some 10 rupees extra, like come, let's go watch Kaka Kaka. Go to theater and watch the movie. So, and I got conceived. That is when the reality kind of hit us. And then we decided, okay, I think we have to quit doing business like this. You find a job, let me go deliver the baby. And he joined a construction company called CCCL
Mm,
in Chennai. And my son was born. After he was born, my husband got a job in Toyota, Bangalore. So
mm,
me, my husband, and my 3 month old son, we moved to Bangalore. We were there for a year, and we came back when he was 1 year and 3 months old. We came back. I was in Chennai, and then my husband joined Ford India.
mm,
Things were going like that. I was a housewife raising my child. I was 24, 25 years old. So this is what was happening. And one of my friends from Pentamedia called me because he knew that I was good with designing. Called me. He's also a wedding planner till date. He's a celebrity wedding planner.
mm,
He wanted me to design an invitation for him. So he called me and said, like, can you design this? So I casually asked him, what are you doing other than this? He said, I have just joined a radio station. BBC is starting a radio station called Radio One,
mm.
and they are looking for RJs. And I am sitting in the audition for auditioning RJs every day. I just asked him, so you won't audition me? And he's like, "Oh, yeah, how didn't I think about it? You know what? Come this afternoon. My mom was there, luckily, on that day. So I said, like, catch hold of my son, take care of him for a couple of hours. And I went to Kodambakam and I gave auditions. And there were several rounds of interviews and auditions back to back. And I became a RJ. So Radio One job was my first job, and it was a breakfast show. I am supposed to be in the studio by 6 a.m.
Mm,
because 7 a.m. the show starts. Myself and Raj Mohan, the YouTuber. So we
mm.
used to host the show together. So
Co-hosted.
6 a.m. Yeah, my son sleeps at his own schedule, like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 12. It's up to him. But then I had to, 4:30 I wake up. My husband also wakes up. So he picks me, and near the Kodambakam bridge, they kind of sort a lot of newspapers from different publications so that the newspaper distributors can distribute. So we go there at 5, and then we buy one copy from every newspaper. And then we go to Kodambakam railway station where Raj Mohan will come from Pallavaram. So we pick him up, and then we all get dropped in our studio in Nungambakam, which was near the old Vijay TV studios on the
Mm.
same building. So we used to get dropped, and then from Nungambakam, my husband used to drive all the way to Maraimalai
Wow.
every day. This was our schedule every single day. So yeah, radio was, it just happened. I asked for it. I think that is another lesson that I think
Yeah.
now as I'm
Just
waiting, I can find out this clue that, I knocked the door. I just asked, will
yeah.
you not audition me? Was that
A
question.
simple question opened up the door for you.
Yeah. So, and thankfully my mother was there. If my mom was not there on that day, I wouldn't have gone. Well, there's no one to take care of the child. I don't think I can come.
Mm.
Would have been the answer. But yeah, things favored, and
Asking
then
for it and
came.
asking for help too, right? Even
Yeah,
when your
yeah.
mom was there,
That,
you were okay. You wanted to, you wanted to go there. You asked her help to look after the baby. Yeah, big
and
lessons.
the help of the spouse. Yeah.
Of
I
course.
mean, for the my job is at 6 a.m. Okay, he has to go to Maraimalai Nagar, which is in the other direction of the city. He had all the energy in the world to wake up. My son never used to sleep on time, as I told you, but he used to wake up at 4:30, take me to the newspaper shop, and then pick Raj Mohan also, and then drop us all in Nungambakam. Like, who will
Wow.
do? Yeah, I'm really
Yeah.
grateful.
Yeah. Beautiful. Amazing. So, RJ, how long did that happen?
Okay. So RJ thing went. It was going parallel. First was Radio One, so I was there for a year,
Mm.
and from there I moved to Jaya TV.
Mm.
And from when I was working for Jaya TV, an opportunity came from Hello FM. In Hello FM, there was a radio sitcom called Anjali Apartments.
Mm.
Okay. So it's an apartment where there are several different types of characters living. There is a manager, and I was one of the lead. I played a role called Chandramukhi, who always yells at the manager, and she's the troublemaker, and she's one villainish kind of lady. So I played that character. So radio was going on, television was going on, stage events were going on, and there was, when you are an anchor, right, you do several other stuff which is not visible also. I used to give voiceovers for ads, dubbing, and also and also I used to give voice for IVRS.
Hmm.
Ondrai Altham. Irundai.
That
That used to
that's
pay me
you.
well for one of the telephone provider back then. Yeah. இந்த பாட்டு உங்களுக்கு தீபாவளிக்கு காலர் டியூனா வேணுமா? All those things I used to say. And these are all extra incomes that you get, no? Perks.
Yeah. Right.
So I used to do several things, and I used to be super busy then because it was a lot of things going on in different parts of the city. And my parents moved in with me because my dad was not keeping well. He was in a treatment for his kidney issues. So they were with me taking care of my child. My child had started going to school also.
Hmm.
And my television shows were all live shows. Okay.
Hmm.
So every day, okay. So every day in TV, I used to do a show called Dial Jaya TV between
Hmm.
12 to 1. Okay. And people from different walks of life come to that show. One day it will be an interview of a yoga instructor, one day it will be a doctor, one day it will be someone in the software field, one day it will be a stock market person, really random, somebody jewelry making, someone talking about gold and the quality of gold. So every day it was different. And I used to love that, doing that show, because I gained a lot of knowledge.
Right.
Yeah, I gained a lot of knowledge, and during the weekends, I did a show called Brew Stars Unguludan, where
Sorry.
Brew Stars Unguludan.
Ah.
Okay, where people, whatever movie got released that Friday, the crew will come. So I'll
Hmm.
have an interaction, live interaction, and then there will be callers calling in also.
Okay.
So I used to love that as well because I learned a lot there also.
Hmm.
It was a lot of learning, and it was a lot of new people that I was meeting from different walks of life, which was very exciting. I think creative people or curious people, and when you throw them with such information every day, that gives a different high because you're
Yeah.
learning, and then there are intellectual people coming in, and suddenly there are people who are very shy, naive. You see different kinds of people. So yeah, that was my TV and radio. Even now, whenever there is one interview that I did with Yugendran, Vijay's interview, actor Vijay's interview,
Hmm.
uh, during Aragiya Tamil Magan, I guess that pops up every time Vijay's birthday comes. It will pop, Push. And somebody will send me. It came across. Is this you? Yes, it's me. The sweet memories that I have. Yes.
Nice. Nice.